earthly scents drifted on the cool, soft breeze.
"Well, Max, it seems you've landed yourself in another adventure," the boy said out loud, even though there didn't appear to be anyone on hand to talk to. "At the beginning of the mystery," he continued, "the best way to isolate what you don't know is to first take stock of everything you do know." This was one of Max's 5 most important rules of detection. Reciting it helped him to order his thoughts and prepare his mind for the coming investigation. "First, I am in the middle of a forest I don't recognize. Though it is so much like the familiar forests of the Pacific Northwest, I'll assume I'm still in that general area until evidence suggests otherwise. Second, I don't know how I got here." He ticked each point off on his fingers as he mentioned it. "Judging by what I can see of the sky," he said, counting a 3rd finger, "it's about midday, and not likely to rain any time soon, so I'm in no immediate danger of exposure. I can't hear traffic sounds, so I must be at least a few miles from any well-traveled road." Now that he was back in a detecting frame of mind, the uneasiness brought about by his initial confusion began to fade. Max was seldom, if ever, fearful, not even during the mystery of the gruesome grizzly, but he had never suffered a loss of his mental faculties before. No matter what, he'd always been able to trust his ability to reason. Until now. Talking out loud in such an odd situation comforted him just enough to help keep the unfamiliar traces of panic at bay. "I must have been involved in some scouting activity," he continued as he strolled downhill, "because I'm in uniform. If our troop was on a camping trip, I'd have a backpack, or at least a canteen for a day hike, but I could have lost those, along with my hat." As soon as he thought of his possibly missing backpack, Max checked his pockets for his lost kit, which an experienced scout always carried apart from his backpack, just in case he ever became separated from the rest of his gear in the wild. He found his lost kit in his left front pants pocket, exactly where it was supposed to be. Inside a small, watertight cylinder were a dozen strike-anywhere matches, a candle, a roll of fishing line with 2 hooks, a few bandages and sterile wrappings, and a needle and thread. A length of heavier twine was wrapped around the outside of the plastic cylinder, since it didn't need to be protected from the elements. Along with his Boy Scout knife, which he discovered safely in his right front pants pocket, he had the minimum basic tools necessary for a resourceful scout to survive in all but the most extreme sort of wilderness. Since he was in the habit of carrying his knife and lost kit during all scouting activities, even those which took place in the middle of civilization, their presence in his pockets shed no light on the unresolved question of whether or not he was on a day hike or overnight camping trip prior to his memory loss. The bandages in his lost kit reminded him that most cases of memory loss were caused by injury or some other serious trauma, so, mentally criticizing himself for not thinking of it sooner, he stopped walking long enough to give himself as thorough a physical examination as his situation allowed. It didn't take long. His head seemed free of lumps, cuts, or tender spots. He suffered no headache or dizziness. Moving down his body, he discovered no broken bones or serious cuts. In fact, he couldn't even find superficial cuts, scrapes, or the kind of minor scratches and insect bites anyone picks up after spending a reasonable amount of time in the woods. "So the evidence suggests," he said, "wherever I am, I haven't been here long. If I was on a hike and became separated from my troop, there's a pretty good chance some of them might be nearby, looking for me." Standing still and quiet in the great woods, he listened for human sounds. Any search party would be blowing on loud whistles or actively calling out his name, not only to find him, but also to aid themselves in not becoming separated from each other. Losing additional members of the search party was always the greatest danger in any rescue operation. He decided to put off calling out himself.